Today we have Professor Mohanbir Sawhney today with us for an exclusive interview with PanIIT USA. Professor Sawhney needs no introduction. Professor Sawhney is a globally recognized scholar, teacher, consultant, and speaker in business innovation, modern marketing, and enterprise analytics. Professor Sawhney holds a PhD in marketing from Wharton, an MBA from IIM Calcutta, and a BTech in electrical engineering from IIT New Delhi. He is an author of 7 management books, including The Sentient Enterprise in 2017 and Fewer, Bigger, Bolder in 2014. He is a board member at Reliance Jio Infocom, an advisory board member at Chicago Innovation, and multiple technology startup companies in India, USA, and Israel. Professor Sawhney, welcome to this exclusive interview with PanIIT USA.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Dr. Sawhney, please take us through your journey from studying at IIT Delhi to globally recognized scholar, teacher, consultant, and speaker in business innovation, modern marketing, and enterprise analytics, and a pioneer in online learning. How did your experience at IIT Delhi shape your illustrious and distinct career?
I think that as most of the IIT alumni will testify, the experience that we went through in our undergraduate education at IIT was really our formative experience, our formative years. And as I reflect back to the 5 years, and I was the last 5-year batch, so we spent 5 years at IIT Delhi, there are a couple of things that stand out. And by the way, it's not what I learned about synchronous motors or what I learned about, structured program design and so on. I've forgotten most of those things. But the one thing that really stood out for me was the incredibly talented and bright people that you were with. You really learned how to compete. You really learned how to survive in a highly competitive environment with some of the brightest and smartest people. Just in my electrical engineering batch, we had Raghuram Rajan, who became, the Reserve Bank governor. We had Sharad Malik, who is the head of the EE at Princeton. And we had a whole bunch of people who are, Anand Jingran, who was a distinguished fellow at IBM. So these were people who you had to compete with. So you learned to compete, you learned to survive, you learned that. So that sort of competitive edge has never gone away. The other thing that I took away, which was really important for my continued growth, was an ability to solve problems in an analytical mind. I take an analytical approach to solving unstructured problems, because a lot of the work that I've done over the years has been to look at new domains, whether it was e-commerce or digital marketing or business innovation or AI and machine learning applications. I think that what I've been able to do is to go into a domain that is highly unstructured, where there isn't a lot of clarity, and put frameworks around it, put structure around it, and that analytical approach to problem solving is something that IIT gave me. So I think it really set the foundation for everything that has been built since then. And of course, after IIT, I followed up with business school education at IIM Calcutta, my PhD at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, and then my 25 or so more years at Kellogg, and always staying focused on the intersection of marketing, innovation, and technology. So although I never did use my engineering, but I do all my work with technology companies now. So in a way, being able to speak that language and being familiar with the fundamentals of technology has really helped me over the years.
Right. The field with combination of business innovation and technology marketing is quite important to make or break in today's industry. Please tell us about your breakthrough research in these fields and how you see the two fields together helping industry today and in the future.
So I have done research on innovation and business innovation and growth over many years. I think the first article that I wrote that really sort of broke through the consciousness was in 1998 or 1999 when I wrote about frameworks for understanding business-to-business e-commerce. And that was a time when there was a lot of confusion, but there was also a lot of excitement. But people needed to understand how this space would evolve. So I wrote about that. Then I talked about how businesses needed to leverage e-business, how they needed to become, e-businesses by starting to use digital technologies and the internet and networks to optimize their internal operations as well as with the with the customer relationships that they manage. Now that whole process then of e-commerce and e-business has evolved, and later I got interested in looking at digital marketing and modern marketing and how you could actually convert marketing from sort of a intuition and sort of creative discipline to a data-driven analytical discipline that leverages automation, that leverages analytics, that leverages artificial intelligence in order to drive autonomous marketing, which is personalization of marketing at scale. So I think that these sort of interwoven threads of how marketing and innovation are all powered by technology has been the areas that I've been focusing on over the years and will continue to be for the foreseeable future.
Marketing is being transformed with recently a lot of sophistications in these digital platforms. How do you see this industry shaping in the future with big data, data analytics, data science platforms, and AI? And as you talk about all these fascinating things that, that's mesmerizing a lot of industry folks right now. Do you see there will be new marketing platforms and strategies using these new technologies, and also with blockchain, distributed ledger? Do you see something building on top of it?
So when you think about marketing, first of all, let me broaden the concept. It's not just marketing, it's customer experience management. So customer experience management happens pre-sales, in sales, as well as in customer service. So the customer experience spans that entire cycle. So sometimes we limit marketing to marketing communication, but I want to take a broader view of what I would call CXM, or customer experience management. So if you look at how companies manage customer experiences, how they engage with customers, a few things are happening. Customer expectations have changed dramatically over the past 5-7 years, shaped by the digital native, the Amazons, the Ubers, and the Airbnbs, and the Netflixes of the world. We expect instantaneous response. We expect personalization. We expect privacy. We expect reward for our loyalty. We expect to be served through any touch point or channel that we choose. So these new expectations are creating enormous demands on marketers to create what I call personalized engagement at scale in real time. That's a tall order. Engagement needs to be personalized. It also needs to be scalable, and it needs to be done in real time. What this means is, if you think of marketing as an engine or customer experience management as an engine or a factory, the throughput has to now go up by orders of magnitude. Now, how do we scale that marketing? How do we scale that customer engagement and do it yet in a way that offers personalization and customization too? So the solution is technology. So what we need, the first thing that we need to do is to automate our marketing. We cannot do marketing campaigns manually. What we need to do is to put in marketing automation platform. By the way, you're starting to see these marketing automation platforms offered by a number of companies, some of which I work with closely. So I work closely with Salesforce and Adobe. And Salesforce has their marketing cloud, which was based on the acquisition of Pardot. And Adobe has a platform for they now call the Adobe Experience Cloud, and or Adobe Experience Platform that is based on Marketo, which is the company that they had acquired. So marketing automation is becoming the norm for companies to engage with customers. But the second big trend that I'm seeing is, on top of this automation, you now add analytics, AI, and machine learning to drive intelligent personalization of your offerings and your marketing communication. So when you add automation with intelligence, you reach this holy grail of what we call autonomous marketing. So autonomous marketing is marketing that executes on an automated platform driven by an AI-based algorithm that is continuously optimizing your creative, deciding your spends, allocating budgets, and learning as it goes along. And this is not science fiction. This exists today. One of the companies I've been working with recently is called Albert.ai. And Albert.ai has Albert, which is a sort of their AI engine that actually executes both your all your programmatic marketing, your email, as well as all your display advertising, all in an automated way. You set the budgets, you give it the creative, it just runs your marketing for you, automatically does A/B testing and optimization. So that is the future. And this was what I had written about in my book on the sentient enterprise. The idea of the sentient enterprise is an enterprise that senses and responds intelligently at scale in real time. So that is where marketing is headed. It will be a discipline that is powered by data, scaled by automation, and made intelligent by analytics. So that's where I see it going.
In this pursuit for personalization, do you see how the enterprises will draw a line between the concerns for personal experience and privacy?
Yeah, I think that going forward, personalization has a requirement, and that requirement is customer data. The more data you have, the richer your customer profile in your customer data lake, in your data repository, the richer your personalization can be. However, that runs counter to sort of the need that customers have to protect their information, their privacy, and so on. So there are sort of these two opposing forces that we see. The force for privacy and increased regulations around privacy, such as GDPR. On the other hand, the need for personalization, which requires me to give you the data. I think the solution to this, sort of how these two opposing forces can come together, is twofold. One is that you have to respect customer data. What I mean by respecting customer data is that there is a contract, there's a permission that I give you. That permission, first of all, needs to be explicit, and consent needs to be proactively secured, but also you should not exceed that permission. You should not use my data in ways that I did not intend you to do. So the guardrails need to be built very carefully, that the data that you collect, you take on a responsibility. You owe that to your customers, not to misuse or abuse, or for that matter, let that data get compromised by hackers. So you need to protect the security of my data. The second important consideration is, if I give you my data, what do I get in return? So to me, privacy is not a religious debate. We should or should not have it. It's an economic debate. That if I give you my information, what do I get back in return? Let me give you an example. When Google asks me, do you want to tell me your location? You want to turn location on in your smartphone. Mm-hmm. What do I get when I say yes? I get a more precise location. I get a more precise GPS coordinate. So there's immediately some value coming back to me. When Amazon asks me to tell it more about the purchases that I've made, they use that to immediately give me a recommendation. In fact, today, 80% of the content consumed on Netflix is based on recommendations. So use my data to give me value back. As long as you follow that principle, and you respect the customer's data, I think you can work with privacy. I think this can be overcome. But you do not and should not assume that you have a carte blanche from your customers in terms of what you do with the data.
So now there's a recent news that we have all seen. This is a Facebook investment in Jio platforms. So what are your thoughts on it, and what is India's future going to look like with these two major forces coming together?
So as some of you know, that I have served on the board of Reliance Jio for the past 5 years, ever since the inception of the company and before its commercial launch of its services in September 2016. So at the board level, we were actively involved in the discussions. And in fact, we met last Saturday to approve the transaction, and it became public, just on April 22nd. So this is a transformative deal. Well, first, just to give you some sense of the parameters around the deal, this is the largest minority technology investment in history. This is the 5th largest fundraise by any technology company in history. And the deal required 200 people doing due diligence, 10,000 man hours, and all of this was done in the coronavirus era virtually. So it is a Herculean effort to get Facebook's attention and engagement to drive a deal like this. And by the way, Facebook debated whether this is a good time to invest, $5.7 billion of their cash, or should they preserve cash given the, the downturn that is expected in business. But they found it was too strategic to not do it. Now, why does this deal make so much sense for Facebook? Why does this deal make so much sense for India? So from a Facebook standpoint, they have 2 billion users of WhatsApp. 20% of them are based in India. That's 400 million people using WhatsApp, almost like a religion. But WhatsApp is the largest unmonetized asset that Facebook owns. They don't drive revenue from WhatsApp today. So Facebook has, and as you know, Facebook is reliant almost exclusively on advertising as a basis of its revenue. And for all the reasons of privacy we just talked about, that model is under threat. So they need to desperately diversify their revenue streams and think about how they can pick up commerce revenue streams. So Facebook's ambition is, can we become like WeChat? Can we make WhatsApp into WeChat, which is a full commerce ecosystem in China? Now, meanwhile, at Reliance, the asset that Jio has is 388 million subscribers on the Jio platform. But in addition to that, you all probably also know that Reliance owns Reliance Retail. And Reliance Retail has created a new commerce model called JioMart. And JioMart is a way to power the 3 million small merchants in India, the Kirana stores, with all of the digital payments and the wireless connectivity, but also with fulfillment. So using the Reliance Retail distribution and logistics network, we can fulfill to the store. So the Kirana person can only manage the customer relationship and focus on that. We take care of the supply chain, we take care of their digital connectivity, both the analog and the digital pipe. So when these two forces come together with the reach that WhatsApp has and the JioMart offering and the Jio network, it is a marriage made in heaven, because you can now, and I think what I feel really proud about and really good about is 3 million merchants in India, the small mom and pop stores, are now open for business. No, even within the lockdown, because when you think about what has happened with the lockdown in India, the small merchants are struggling because the Walmarts and Flipkarts of the world can still sell e-commerce, but the little guy is shut down. We will now power these 3 million merchants, and they will be in business and they'll be able to compete with the big guys. So what I actually said to Mukesh Bhai in the meeting where we had last week, I said, Jio used to be, our tagline was digital life. And I said, Mukesh Bhai, now we should call it digital lifeline. He really liked the idea. And he's like, that's how we're going to talk about it now, that Jio has really become the digital lifeline in the lockdown. So I think going forward, this is a very powerful combination, and it will really set the stage for the evolution of WhatsApp into a commerce platform, and also for Jio as it launches this commerce offering that combines its strengths in retail with telecommunications. So I'm very excited, and actually the first call that was placed by Mukesh Bhai was to the Prime Minister, and he was very supportive of the deal. He blessed the deal, and he also sort of drew inspiration from the fact that India is open for business. People are still investing in India. So I think this is a very uplifting piece of news in a very depressing time, and I am proud and honored to have been part of the team that's working on it, because this will really transform the lives of 3 million small merchants and 1.3 billion Indians.
Yeah, these are exciting times. In fact, yeah, as you rightly said, in these depressing times, we couldn't look for any better news for India. That's great. So finally, what would you advise current undergraduate and graduate students interested in making a career in business innovation and technology marketing? Also, what would be your top 2 career guidance for alumni who are in the midst of their career and want to take the next leap?
So if you are an undergraduate today, or you're looking to get into undergraduate education, I think that building a foundation in data and analytics is a survival skill. I would strongly recommend that you do some courses and build some skills in statistics, econometrics, data science, analytics. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a physician, you're going to be looking at medical data. If you're a retailer, you're going to be looking at retail data. I don't care what industry you're going to. I don't care where you are. All industries are now founded on the foundation of data and analytics. So that's a survival skill. So that's one recommendation that I would have. Also look at fields where demand is growing, right? Because jobs will change. There's a lot of sort of shift in where jobs will be created and where jobs will be lost. So the professions that involve, analysis of data and or involve jobs that are relatively safe, like logistics and healthcare, are going to be more attractive than sort of mid-level white career jobs. Let's say you're an insurance claims analyzer, or you are an underwriter. I mean, those things will get replaced with algorithms. So you need to sort of upskill yourself beyond that. As far as our alumni are concerned, I think that this is a very, very good time to retool. And by the way, you have some time on your hands now because you're in lockdown, you're in quarantine, you are, so this is a great time to invest in your learning. I, in fact, have offered, and I've created 3 online courses, one on digital marketing, one on product management, and one on AI and business. And I'm seeing the enrollments grow because people are investing in their development. And you know who's investing in the development? The average work experience of the people who are taking my courses on AI and digital marketing is 15 to 20 years. So these are mid-career executives. So that would be my advice. Keep yourself current, reinvent yourself, continue to sort of, enhance your skill sets, particularly in the domains of innovation, digital technology, and as well as AI and machine learning. I think these are skill sets that we all need to do. And I am sort of 56 years old, and I am living proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks, because I have learned this whole AI landscape. I didn't learn this at IIT. AI didn't exist. It was rule-based expert systems in the 1980s, but I've had to teach myself. So, I would like to say to you in conclusion that if you are not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So what you need to do is to push yourself out of your comfort zone, learn something new, feel uncomfortable. As somebody once told me, if you feel that you're in control, you're not driving fast enough. So push on that accelerator, use this time to invest in yourself. Because when the world returns, when demand returns, when business comes back, there will be a demand for new skill sets. You got to be ready.
That's terrific. That's great inputs for all the young generation and also mid-career IITians who will be watching this video. Thank you so much for your time, Mohanbir. Looking forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.